All right, welcome to the Randomvivor Rewind Season 6 episode.
Whoa!
Woo!
Today I have three special guests. Belle, the winner of Season 6, Dennis, the villain of Season 6, and Kayl, the player of the season for Season 6.
Yay!
Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Good.
Good.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, what do you guys remember about your season?
This one wasn't so long ago, so.
Yeah, I know. This one, unlike the other ones we filmed so far, this one is pretty recent. Like 6 months, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I still have a fair memory of it.
Maybe 7 months. Like, you understand, the other ones we've done so far are over a year old. So, this will be a different experience, I think.
I mean,
I have like some key memories of the season that tend to stand out for me. There's definitely going to be some stuff that I'll probably act like it's the first time I'm hearing it tonight. So,
Like, we went through it this season. This was a rough season.
No, it was interesting though. Like, I feel like almost every round this season, like, there was things happening. Like,
it
there
was
like,
rough, but it was also fun. I think that's like the
it was
difference
very fun
between,
from a
like,
viewer standpoint.
Yeah, maybe not from a player standpoint, but from a viewers and a host standpoint, I feel like this was a very fun season.
There was laughs, there was tears, there was anger, there like all of the emotions came through this season.
So many tears.
Yeah, like I know for me, like this was my first time like main hosting an org at all. Like this was the first time that like, so for context for anyone listening, this was the season that Ross took a step back. So me and Adelaide kind of took the reins in hosting and kind of led this season. So it was my first time like really being like super involved in the planning and like the casting. Like I always had been throughout Random, but this is like when it was like, it kind of mostly fell onto me and Adelaide. Like it was our season to run. So I know for me, like I was really happy with how this season turned out. And like I thought like everyone we cast was super awesome. Like everything went really well. I think this is like one of the one seasons where we didn't have like an incident where someone almost got canceled. So congrats to you.
I wouldn't say it's the only.
Congrats to you guys for being the least problematic cast.
Take the win.
I wouldn't say it's the only season. I'm thinking about it. First three seasons are canceled. 4 we had it canceled, yeah. 5 we had it canceled, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll take the win.
7?
Yeah, Ross,
anything
give
for
it
7?
to us. Come on now.
Do we have anything for 7?
No, but 7 had an incident, so.
I mean, so did this season though.
Kind of. It wasn't that bad though.
Whatever. We'll get to that.
It was just MJ. Not MJ. Ooh.
MK.
MK.
That's the other. That's the other.
That's a different season.
That's let's just say MK. No, you did nothing to that degree.
Love MK. Love MK.
Love MK.
I have
Fuck MJ.
lots to say on that topic.
Yeah,
when we
sure,
get to
We'll
that
get to
point.
that. That's farther down the line.
But yeah, this season was really fun. I guess we can get into it then, hey?
Yep.
Okay, so this season was The Hunger Games was a theme chosen by me and Adelaide, which is really funny how this theme came about. I think me and Adelaide kind of talked to you guys about it during the season. So when Ross took a backseat, this was supposed to be a Taylor Swift theme season at first. Like that was what the season was going to be. And then me and Adelaide were like, just kind of like, we'd seen like a lot of other orgs because I mean Taylor Swift obviously like is Taylor Swift's and everyone loves her. So there was so many Taylor Swift orgs and like things happening that we were like, do we really want to hop on the bandwagon and like be like all these other things? We like brainstormed other ideas, some of which Ross shut down, like Twilight and Glee.
Still upset
Kayl.
it wasn't the Twilight season, but it's fine.
Twilight would have been so fun.
It would've.
But then Hunger Games was kind of having like a resurgence on TikTok at the time, and when like, it still is, but it's like kind of like when it was first starting, and I was like, man, like I love the Hunger Games, and Adley was like, me too. So we were like, why don't we do Hunger Games? Because I think it could be like we could theme it really well. Like both me and Adelaide knew the books and the movies really well, so we knew we could theme it really fun, and like it would be something that would attract a lot of people to apply. So that's how we settled on the theme for this season. And so we started with 80-person cast, 3 tribes of 6, Everdeen, Malark, and O'Dare. Do we have someone from each original starting tribe here?
Unfortunately, we do not. I did
No.
look into that, because when Adelaide said we couldn't do it, I was almost about to ask someone from, I believe Melark is the missing tribe,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anyone, and we already had this plan for like a week, and I'm like, yeah, but what if they can't do it? Then it's just not worth it.
Yeah. So, anyways, we have 3 tribes, and we had a really fun idol hunt for this season. We had the grid system, which was like kind of a different idea. It's an idol hunt that we had never really done in this org before. It was something I took inspiration from another org that I played before. Shout out Echo Orgs. Shout out Ty. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to kind of like make the idol hunt be like the arena, and everyone has to try and find materials to like craft items to give them an advantage in the game. So that's kind of how that came to be, and I think it went pretty well. Like most of the things that we found got hidden and actually got crafted, and it wasn't overwhelming where it was like an advantage getting, because one tribe, looking at the O'Dares, did not craft their tribe idol. It never got made.
Oopsies.
Actually, we can
Hey,
thank
and guess what? Season 8 continued that tradition, but we'll get to that.
we can actually thank MK for that one, because MK found the pin very early on and just never did anything with it.
We never told anyone he had it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so we'll go into the first challenge. Our first challenge was a scavenger hunt. I don't remember much about this challenge, honestly.
I don't even remember the
We didn't
list. I don't have the
do
list.
anything for the scavenger hunt. Like,
Right.
Oh,
right.
that's
Every-
right.
We
Every
did
tribe-
nothing.
Everdeen tribe really just did nothing.
Well, then no wonder why you guys went.
Dennis, I remember you trying to come in and like clutch out at the last minute. I remember you coming in like late and trying to get like a bunch of the things, but at that point, like the other tribes were almost done.
I mean, in his
Yeah.
defense, the point gap wasn't that high from what I looked at. It was like maybe a 50-point gap considering it's like 300 points to like 280 something. Like that's not crazy. That's pretty
Yeah,
impressive,
so-
actually.
No, it was. You guys, I remember a lot of people tried really hard in the challenge, especially from the Malark and O'Dare tribe. Some people had some like, we're getting real creative
Well,
with some of the
Kayl
prompts to
handmade
try and get points.
Kayl handmade our deer.
I was about to say, is this the one where I made a deer out of clay?
It is,
You
yeah.
sure
you
did. I'm looking at it right now.
And
I
honestly,
because I get asked for deer earrings, and I just show people that picture, and I say no. I have it favorited on my phone now.
no, we you took the time to like literally handcraft a deer. We were like, we have to give her the point for that. Like that, that like actually.
Wait. You have it favored on your phone. Show it to the camera, please.
Oh.
You can
It'll
show
take
off
me a while.
the
You
deer.
guys continue talking, because I have like
Alright.
5,000 photos.
Okay, so Adara Malark won immunity, and which is the start of the very long streak of the Everdeen tribe going to tribal.
Oh boy.
It was a great
Which
time.
actually, this
Great
was
time.
I remember this being a very fun tribal for our first tribal of the season. Like I remember there was actually a lot going on.
Yeah,
It was
I-
chaos. It
I
was
did
awesome.
I did put in the notes that Sean tried to fake an idol.
Yep.
Yeah, this is crazy. So Dennis, if you want to take it away and explain this from your perspective, then the deer.
I love
God,
it.
it's so bad and I love it.
So, like,
Fine.
I mean, these were very small tribes to begin with, right? Like,
Yeah,
6
there were
people.
6, right?
So,
Yeah, it's 3 tribes to 6. Yeah.
me and Jesse, like, we were tight, like, really right out the gate. And so we were trying to, like, bring people into that, right? So that way we could have the numbers. And Sean just, up until Tribal started, he just wasn't there. And then as soon as we lost that challenge, all of a sudden, he comes up with this great idea that he has an idol. And I'm like, bro, there's a grid. Like, there's no way you have an idol. Like, you have to, like, find all of these things and craft them together. And there was a time limit that you could only search a spot, like, every so often, right?
He would have had to get really, really, really lucky.
He would have had to
have
get
found the idol.
every single item he needed on the first try in order to find this idol. And just no. And he was just creating drama. And Jamie believed him. So Jamie threw a hinky vote onto Jesse. And that caused Jamie's demise next round. But
Yeah.
we were all just like, no, like, he doesn't have it. He's creating chaos. Dude's got to go.
And so he went.
He
Yep.
sure did.
R.I.P. Sweet Sean. It's okay. Also, this was Sean's first ever org. Like, he was a complete newbie at this time, too. I remember because I remember for this hunt, we had the grid and we told everyone that there was the grid and you could start looking right away. But you had to find the manual, which I think the command was hidden in your channel.
God.
I think the manual was hidden.
Yeah.
It was hidden in your
It
confessional.
was
Submissions.
confessional, right? Or
Yeah,
it was
submissions?
confessional?
It was in
Submissions or
One of them.
confessional? I know because I
Yeah.
came up with the idea.
It was in one of the confessional or submission. It was in the the channel description for it, and some people found that like right away. And I think it was ciphered also, so you had to cipher and unscramble. But I remember Sean found the manual command like really early on, and he had it unscrambled. Like had the right. I forget what that command actually was.
You have to look
I don't
it
know
up.
what I cannot remember off the top of my head. But I remember Sean found it really early, but poor Sean, like it was his first org, so he like didn't understand how commands worked. And I remember feeling so bad because I was like, I can't just tell him that he needs to put it in with the exclamation point at the front. Like I can't tell him straight up because that feels like me cheating a little bit. So like I went and made an announcement being like, oh, all commands have an exclamation point at the front and dashes between words, hoping that would like tell him that that's what he had to do, but he never picked up on it and I felt so bad. I was like, oh, I want to tell you so bad, but I couldn't. So
Poor Sean.
justice for Sean.
Yeah. Justice for Sean. Sean really did play that first timers game.
He did, but it's okay. He's gone on and played other places. I've seen him, and he's done pretty well for himself. So
Yeah, he was one vote
Go
off from a win in trade orgs.
yeah,
So.
go Sean. Okay, and then the next challenge was an auction. I forgot that we did an auction and that it was
Yeah,
like,
I was like doing the
super
notes and I
early.
kind of just go, really? This early?
I forgot that we did an auction, and I forgot that it was like this early in the
I know,
season.
part of me was like, really? We did an auction this season where we had the grid? It just seems
This-
kind of
I mean,
redundant.
Most of the things in it were like pretty minor advantages.
Yeah, when I was like going through, I'm like, you know what? No, I see why. Because
Adelaide, I remember Adelaide really wanted to do an auction, and I was like, well, we can't have like anything super big in there because like there's already so much in the grid.
Yeah.
So from this challenge, Bo got an idle map advantage where he could learn information about an item on the grid. So he could, I'm not sure if I think he did use this, but he could ask like, oh, like where can I find a rope? And then we'd be like, a rope are in like these squares. Madison lost a turn and couldn't search for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Jamie got a challenge info advantage where she could see what a future challenge was up until the final 8. This was a fun one. Taylor got the iconic Randomvivor staple of speaking with tongues, where she could only talk in GIFs and emojis for the tribal period. Libby got an extra turn to search the grid, and Kayl, you got a bag search
I did.
where you could search someone's bag and see what they had. I actually don't remember when you used that.
Oh, I do.
I do.
I see. Remember a little error that hosts made with that, but was it this season? I think it was. This
Oh.
season.
I don't think so.
I think,
Oh,
yeah,
No, it might. You know what? It might have been a different season. But I know we did it at some point. with
we'll
Baxter.
get to it, but me and Belle, it was in Madison too.
It was
right?
Madison, yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, guys, I don't know what to do with this advantage, but we'll get into it later to like
Mhm.
the relevant. But
Oh boy.
yeah, I'm
Stuff to
not
look
a
forward
big
to.
advantage player, so when I get stuff, I'm kind of like standing in a room empty by myself. I'm like, well, now what the fuck do I do?
I feel like we
Can
used
relate.
that well though. Like we got some good information from that.
We did, and we stirred up some chaos, but we'll dive
Sure
into
did.
that.
Yeah, I don't have any of that in my notes, so I can't wait to get to that.
Which I was just looking at this, and for a second I was like, how did we do the immunity for this challenge? But I remember you all had like so many points you could gamble, or so many
I
points
know
you
we
could spend,
lost.
and you could gamble them. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean you did.
I
yes.
know we lost.
But I remember we had to kind of reevaluate the point system because your tribe was at a disadvantage. We had to make your tribe have extra points going into it to balance out the fact that you were down a person.
Yep.
And
didn't
you
help.
still lost with
Yep.
the extra
Mhm.
extra points. So Dennis, if you would like to take it away again.
So this round, I really liked Jamie. I wanted to work with Jamie.
Jamie was awesome.
However, the problem is that Jesse was like my guy, right? Like we were going to play this game together, and Jamie believed Sean's lie that he had an idol and threw a vote onto Jesse of all people. And Jesse was so pissed. He's like, "Nope, she's gotta go. We're not voting anybody else." I'm like, "Okay, but like, let's think about," because I was trying to throw Taylor under the bus. And we'll get to that why in the next episode. But there was nothing I could have done. Like Jamie, like her throwing that vote onto Jesse, just like that was the nail in her coffin. She was done.
Yeah, poor Jamie. Jamie was really fun to watch too. Like I remember
Loved
from
her.
Yeah, Jamie
her
was fun.
confessionals, she was giving in her comp so much, and like I remember when she threw the vote into Jesse, we were all like, "Why? Why did you do
This is
that?"
a
'Cause she-
terrible move. What
she
are
was
you
off to-
doing?
Awful move.
She was
Awful
off to
move.
such a strong start too. Like I feel like at the start, like for the first round in your tribe, it kind of seemed like you, Jesse, and Jamie were kind of like the power players a little bit on that tribe.
And we would have been too. Like that was the plan. That's what I wanted. I wanted me, Jamie, and Jesse to be like the group that's like running stuff. And then Jamie just like shattered all trust that she could have built with
Yeah,
Jesse.
I think the problem was that Jamie was also, I think she also had an alliance with Taylor and Wonder at that point. So to throw a hinky, she kind of had to choose one or the
yeah.
other.
Well, she chose wrong.
Yeah, she did choose
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
Also, if she chose Taylor, I think she stays. But
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think so too. But her and Taylor, I remember being really close at the start of that game, so I feel like that's
That's
why
true.
she didn't go
That's
for
true.
Taylor. But yeah, rip Jesse. Jesse was not Jesse. Oh my God, Jamie. Jamie was like
Jesse.
very fun. We'll get to Jesse later. Jamie was a very fun, chaotic player who went far too early. So
Yeah.
Completely agree.
also important to note that Libby crafted her idol this round, which was the first idol of the game. The Malark idol was crafted in this round. I'm pretty sure, I know we don't have anyone from Malark to speak on it. I'm pretty sure her, Bo, and I think Madison were collaborating on that hunt a little bit. Like they were transferring items to each
I
other.
remember Madison mentioning that there was that like alliance going on to transfer items between them.
Yeah, they were transferring items, but I think Libby only told Bo that she had the idol. I believe it was because I think Bo was the one who actually found the Mockingjay pin and gave it to Libby because she had the other stuff for it. So it was kind of like a joint custody idol between the two of them. Okay, that was that. Then for our third challenge,
Boy.
this is a creative challenge. This is the create an arena one, where you all had to come up with your own arena and like a theming for like a potential Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, MK and Kayl carried our tribe that round.
Yeah,
Was that our cryptid arena?
yeah, it was.
Oh, that was so fun.
That was a
We
fun
committed
challenge.
so late though. Oh my god, I was so stressing.
I actually didn't think Everdeen should have lost this challenge. I remember reading them and I was like, I think Everdeen's was pretty good. Like I actually really liked your guys's.
To be fair, Taylor and Wonder did 100% of that challenge. Jesse and I didn't do anything. Like not a single thing. Like,
Yeah, I remember really
I
liking
think-
your guys's.
I jumped in there and like corrected some of the misspellings, and that was my contribution. I'm like, okay, I helped.
I remember our judges for this challenge were very harsh also. They were very
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up a.
There was
quote
one
from
judge
judges.
that tanked us. Like we were like
It
top
was
in like
Julian.
every single
It
category.
was Julian.
And
Speak on
then,
it. Speak
yeah,
on it.
just the one judge tanked us, and then we
Speak
lost.
on it. It was my boyfriend. Speak on it. Let him know.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his quote because I know we posted it.
I think it was something along the lines of "These all sucked."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm
Oh,
going through.
yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep, these all suck. Yep, that's exactly what it was. I found
It
it.
was something along the lines of "These all suck," and I was like, "Babe, calm down. People are trying their best here. Be nice."
But did we? Did we really?
Well, some of you
I
did.
didn't.
Anyways, sadly, this continues our trend of Everdeen still going to tribal. I remember feeling so bad. I was like, I was like, should I just rig it for them at this point? Like, they're gonna be down. Like, they could have 2 people left at the end of this pre-merge. Like,
We
I was
almost
like-
were.
I felt so bad. I was like, these poor
Emma,
fuckers.
did you not post Julian's scores?
No, because he was too harsh. I was like,
I'm going through the thing right now, and I see his is just missing.
because he didn't get feedback either. He just gave
Outside
the
of these
scores.
all suck.
He just said these all suck and gave the scores. So I was like, it's not even worth posting because he didn't even give any constructive feedback. So I'm silencing then. And I was like, I'm silencing you. You don't get to speak. Love him long
I
time.
wonder if I can find the judging room for him. Found
Literally
it.
literally love him long time, but sometimes men need to be silenced.
All right, I
Anyway,
think I figured it out. Okay, wasn't that
Um,
big of a tank.
Dennis,
This
I think this is your time to shine again. I
Oh,
think this
yep.
one was
Okay, here we go.
This is your time to
Tribe
shine
three,
again.
Tribal 3, right?
tribal
So,
number 3.
the nice thing about like going to all of these tribals and like being put down to like 3 people, it trauma bonded like me, Wonder, and Jesse. So like we were like solidly tight, like going through the whole rest of this game because we survived all of this crap together. But with this tribal, I wanted Taylor gone. Like I was just so done with her. She would every single tribal council that we had so far. So Sean's vote out, Jamie's vote out. We would decide like this is what we're going to do. We're going to vote for Sean. We're going to go vote for Jamie. And then she was like, I don't want them to be blindsided. I need to tell them that they're the ones that are being voted out. And that caused Sean to go crazy. That caused Jamie to like try to flip things. And it's like we're going to be down to 3 people. I cannot play the rest of this game with somebody that like can't blindside somebody. Like I get playing the hero game. I understand it. Actually, I don't because I've never played like that. But you got to be able to lie to people, right? Like the Survivor. There are times to be honest, and there's times not to be. And when you have a tribe that is this small, you cannot be telling people that they are going to be the person being voted out because they're going to go crazy. And they did. And so me and Jesse were like solid on Taylor. Like this is who we're voting for. So it was really up to Wonder. Like this is when Wonder like started like to come into the trio that we ended up making. Was this vote because I didn't fully trust Wonder at this point. But when you had me and Jesse, like, this is who we're voting for, we're not budging. It's you either vote for Taylor or you tie the vote. So that was Wonder's dilemma. And she ended up voting for Taylor. So it all worked out.
Sure
Besides
did.
Taylor starting to call me a snake after this, but
I do have to give Taylor a shout out though for something that I don't even know if Kayl or Belle ever got to see. That when she had the speaking with tongues advantage the round before, she made her own alphabet in emojis so that she could speak to people, which is just so funny that she literally went and made emotes for every single
Honestly,
letter in the
genius.
alphabet
Right.
so that she could
Genius.
speak, which was very, very smart, and also like I respect the commitment to the bit.
How did she like do it though? Wait, I forget. How did she do it?
I think she just like saved like emoji letters, like images, and like made them into emotes like in a different server.
yeah, it
she
wasn't
could
like
use
her speaking tongues wasn't that terrible. Like
No, because she
we
found
could
a way
still
to hack the
communicate,
system.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which honestly was probably like against what we had wanted for that disadvantage, but honestly, I respect the hustle too much that I
Yeah, I respect the hustle. Like,
I respect the
if she had
hustle.
just used like the letter emotes you have like in base Discord, I would have been like, no, you can't.
But the
do
fact that she
no.
went to make her own emotes, like I have to respect that.
The thing with Taylor though, like starting out this game, I really liked Taylor. Like I
Yeah,
was a
she
big
was
fan
fun.
of Taylor. But like I couldn't trust her, you know, and I really wish, actually no, because it all worked out in the end. But if she didn't like leak everything that was happening, it probably would have been Wonder voted out at that tribal and not Taylor.
Which is crazy to think about how that
Was
would have
it-
changed the game.
Wasn't this the tribal though, where Wonder was able to craft her idol because of
Yes.
items that Taylor gave her?
Yes, it was. Wonder did craft an idol this round also. Which that idol becomes very important later down the line.
Yep.
Very important later down the line. Because while the Everdeen 3 may have started on the bottom, they certainly did not stay there once the merge came around.
No.
They didn't
They
say
Yeah,
that.
but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here.
We had a, I mean, even this is still part of this early part though. Like we accumulated a lot of advantages through this
Right.
grid search. Like we had a treasure trove of things to use.
Yeah,
So
and it's kind of like what Dennis said earlier. I think this early game kind of helped shape you guys being able to do that later because you had gone through so much together. It was so easy for you guys to instill that like 100% trust in each other to be able to communicate and share items to be able to make those advantages later down the line.
absolutely.
So that ends the beginning of the pre-merge, and then we swapped. We swapped.
Not yet.
No,
Not
we
yet.
didn't. No,
One
we didn't.
left.
We have
Got
our
one
one
left
win.
on.
Sorry, I
Do not
forgot. The
take
one time that
our
Everdeen didn't go to
one
tribal.
win ahead of, away
The
from
one
us.
time Everdeen did not go to
Come
tribal.
on now.
Emma, don't take their one win.
We were saved by the O'Dares, so
Yeah, we had the attack, defend, intercept challenge, which is a Randomvivor classic that has appeared in almost every season since
Yeah.
season 2.
Not every. No, it was season 3 was the first one. Because I stole this from Sam Survivor, which I didn't play until after season 2.
Right.
Trying to think about it. Wasn't every
Yeah.
season after?
And then Everdeen finally gets a round of safety. O'Dare remains not going to tribal at all.
not.
Belle,
and
do you
we were
remember
safe
this?
not because of us. It was not our doing. We almost went. It was completely Kayl, Belle, and the rest of the O'Dares that saved us.
Actually, I stepped out of this challenge.
Yeah, I was doing this challenge while I was go-karting with my family. So I would like do a race, get off, and be like, "Okay, so what was the move made? Okay, so we should probably well, let's talk about this. Okay, I'm gonna go back on the track."
Yeah, and I remember this challenge too because the aftermath of it like stirred a little bit of drama.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, so Giraffes really basically ran this challenge because I was so busy and people had stepped out. Giraffes was really the one pushing for this and like making the moves and being like, we should save Everdeen. Me being so busy was hopping in and being like, okay, checking in, yeah, sure, let's do that, and then leaving again. And I guess that made Giraffes very upset with me.
Oh yeah, I heard all about it in my DMs with Giraffes, which I didn't even think Giraffes liked me. So when Giraffes started opening up, I was like, oh wait, they might actually like me. But I immediately went and told Belle everything.
Oh yeah, I
too.
had you and MK both coming to me and being like, Giraffes is going off in my DMs about how much they dislike you, and I went, cool, great.
I remember you two and MK had all kind of clicked pretty early on into the game,
Yeah.
and it was very clear that you three were like the top of that tribe
Oh yeah.
for most of the pre-merge. I never knew about that. That's crazy. I forgot about that. I feel like someone probably did mention it in their confessional. I'm just totally forgetting. But yeah, so we have an O'Dare and finally Everdeen safety, so Everdeen does not go down to 2 people.
Yay!
And then Malark went to tribal here, which sadly we have no one to speak about. Nikki did lose her vote this round in the grid, and could not vote at this tribal. Poor Nikki. I feel like that's not the first time. That's not the first time. That's not the only time that happens to Nikki in this season. I'm pretty sure.
I
will
saw
say-
it, and that's the only reason why I
The voting
But, yeah.
chart that you have is slightly wrong because I didn't have a vote in the first tribal, but
Oh, right.
I just took
I
the last one Peanut made, so I guess that's wrong.
I also
Okay,
didn't. I
well,
also didn't make this voting chart. I probably should have made this one because I was around for this whole season. Anyways,
there's always the opportunity to go back and do revisionist history.
I got lazy. Listen, I did enough this season. Okay. Yeah. So Jack got voted out for Malark from. So I guess I'll kind of touch on this a bit. I feel like, I think this was a pretty easy tribal for them. I think Jack hadn't been around too much, was a little bit inactive. I remember us saying pretty early on, like, oh, if Malark goes to tribal, it's likely Jack, just based on what people had been saying in their confessionals. So I'm pretty sure this was a pretty straightforward unit and tribal, just that Nikki couldn't vote. I don't think there was really anything that happened there.
it's kind of fun though. Like, you know, us losing, I mentioned before, it like trauma bonded us, but us losing like those first 3 challenges, like we were already playing the game. And meanwhile, like the other 2 tribes, like never really had to start yet. I mean, even for O'Dare, they didn't start really until like the swap. But we were already like, you know, guns blazing, ready to make stuff happen. So
Yeah, I felt
when
bad
we
too.
get to
'Cause
the
I feel like
swap, we'll touch on that a little bit. But
I felt bad too because I feel like there were between Malark and O'Dare, like from like my perspective, like a host/spec perspective, there were some people who like weren't around too much and like could have been pretty easy boots for those tribes. And like I felt so bad for Everdeen because all of you guys were all playing so hard. Everyone was at a 10, and I was like, oh, I feel so bad because they're all playing so hard, and I feel like there's some other people who like aren't playing so hard who like, not to say that they didn't deserve to still be in, but it's like it probably could have changed the shaping of the game a lot, like had Everdeen not gone to so many tribals. Okay, so now we swap for real this time.
Yay!
And this time we go into 2 tribes of 7 with Haymitch and Trinket. We'd agreed at this tribal. This was like a agreed, but it had like a different take to it, where like if like 2 tribes, like there was either like one tribe was safe, or you all like, or both tribes went to tribal. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember the exact rules on it. Adelaide came up with this challenge, so I wish they were here to speak on it because it was really cool.
Yeah. I didn't understand it as I was reading through
Anyways,
it.
I forgot who took greed on each tribe.
I did it
did.
immediately, and then I lied, and then I confessed later.
I think everyone took it except Madison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did it immediately. As soon as I read that if you're the first to take it, you get immunity, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take it just so no one else can have it.
Yeah, I took
Right.
it immediately and then forgot to ping, so.
I forget who was on what tribes at this point. Were you guys all on one tribe at this point? Or
Me
Dennis,
and
were you
Belle
on?
were still together.
Dennis,
Yeah, me
you were
and Kayl
on.
stuck together, Dennis was the other side.
Right.
That's good then, because then we can cover both bases.
Dennis was on the Haymitch tribe, right?
Yep.
Right. Haymitch, so I'm looking at the chart now. Haymitch was Dennis, Wonder, Bo, Nikki. I can't read the chart, that's the issue.
MK, Giraffes, and Meredith.
Yes, MK Giraffes and Meredith. And then Trinket was Belle, Kayl, Libby, Jesse, Madison, and Nathan.
And Chrissy.
And Chrissy. Oh my god, Chrissy. How could I forget Chrissy? Yeah, so I guess you can each speak about your tribals. Whoever would like to go first.
Well, I remember even before the swap that I kind of low-key wanted Nathan out because we just didn't really mesh. And so I think this. Hold on, I'm gonna look at the voting chart. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so this is when me and Belle first meet, Libby, Jesse, and Madison.
Mhm.
And from like my perspective, me and Jesse instantly clicked. Like immediately we like were super close, and Jesse was like the only person that didn't have any former trimates with him. And so I was like, I'm gonna get in his good corner because like, yeah, he's the easy vote here, but if he's someone that I could build loyalty to me with, then like that'll benefit me later on.
Right.
Yeah, I think because this was the Nathan vote out, and I had been fairly good with Nathan on our OG tribe, But at this point, like meeting Madison, this was when me, Kayl, and Madison formed our 3-person alliance that I felt so comfortable with. And I knew Nathan was really struggling with conversations with other people. And I was like, it was just not worth saving a mid-tier ally when I had started gaining other ones and potentially start getting in shit myself for it.
Right. There. Dennis, how about you over there on Hey Mitch?
For the swap?
Yes, this was Meredith, I
Are we-
believe.
Okay, so the next tribal with Meredith, it really just was, she wasn't there. I mean, she was talking more in the tribal chat than she was to anybody in DMs. So it should have been a pretty unanimous vote. However, Bo and Nikki did not vote for Meredith for some reason.
Right.
I have no idea why. But this, like, I had a very strong bond with Nikki really early on in the swap. But this vote right here made me never trust Nikki and Bo fully for the whole rest of the game that we played together. Because they would not vote for Meredith, even though Meredith was not around, just because she was on their OG tribe. So my perception was that Bo and Nikki, they're sticking with OG people, regardless what happens.
Right. I forgot that vote was split. I forgot that they kind of stayed Malark strong.
For no reason. Like they could have, broken free from that. Like, yeah, Meredith isn't around. The votes are on Meredith. But they didn't, and I don't get that, but whatever.
Yeah, because you guys had a really interesting split with your tribe where you had 2 Everdeen, 2 O'Dare, and then 3 Malark, I think. So like that tribe really could have went anyway because the numbers were so split compared to the other tribe where they weren't as split. Okay, moving on. What is next? Oh, this is the At the Cornucopia one that I did not remember when we got in this call and had to go back and look at what it was, it was another grid. More grids.
But it was a peanut grid, so it's automatically better than every other grid.
This really was the season of the grids. We just had, anywhere you looked, there was a grid.
I was so tired of
the merge tribe was named after grids.
Even grids today, when I see them, give me like
PTSD.
No, seriously, I'm like traumatized by them.
I gotta ask, which grid specifically?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Just how many there were.
Listen, I think this. I forget. This was a Peanut challenge that I think Peanut had like suggested like sometime in the like pre-season planning that I just like kind of forgot. We just like put it there as a placeholder, but I forgot like what the challenge actually entailed. Like when I made the idol hunt. So I didn't realize there was gonna be this many grids. I was just like, and then I think as we got closer to it, Peanut started making it. I was like, oh my god, another grid. I was
to
like,
be fair, we did this challenge in a previous season. I think it was 4.
Maybe, probably.
It was a very similar challenge to this, and we thought it was really cool. So let's bring it back, but this time theme for Hunger Games.
So this is the start of the grid trauma.
This was
a fun challenge, again, though. So. This was a fun challenge for us.
Yeah, this was like there was like mines, right? You had to try to not.
Yeah, and I just think it was a really good time for us because most of our tribe got on VC during the challenge, and we're all talking during it, so it felt like a really great bonding moment for our tribe, especially the whole winning at the end thing. Really helped.
I remember like I was on like an 8-hour car trip during this challenge, and so I wasn't on my phone at all, but I was on the VC with, I think you, Emma, and Adelaide were on there too. So it was like me, MK, Bo for a little bit, Wonder for a little bit, Nikki for a little bit, and it made my trip go by so fast because we were just on VC the entire time. So it was great. I mean, we still lost, but it was great.
Yeah.
Smash or pass after the challenge too.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I think we played Smash or Pass too.
We definitely did play Smash or Pass afterwards.
That,
yes.
Yeah, and then Giraffes ended up getting voted out at that tribal, and I ended up getting their stuff.
Yes, which was so funny.
I was so surprised because I swear, like the whole time, I was like, I don't think Giraffes likes me. It turns out they like me a lot. And I was like, okay, so I'm just an overthinker.
So
Giraffes just was like not there though. Like they just never around ever. Just like Meredith. It was an easy vote.
Yeah, because it was kind of split between Giraffes and Meredith the round before, because I feel like both of them hadn't really been around a little bit.
Yep.
So it was like which one to take.
But hadn't they determined that Giraffes was the one that got the greed the fastest and was immune? I think they'd figured that out.
Did we? I don't remember.
I think the tribe at least assumed that Giraffes had the immunity, and that's why they didn't end up doing them.
Right. Yeah, Dennis. This ends Dennis's streak of all the pre-merge tribals having only been safe for one of them.
Yep.
Having only not gone to tribal once.
It's fine. Dennis will have another
the
streak coming soon
entire
anyway.
season.
And
The
same for
entire
Wonder.
season.
Wonder as well also was only safe for one tribal
Yep.
the whole season. So
Yeah.
shout out to you two for both making it as far as you did, having gone to quite literally almost every single tribal. That's insane.
Great time. It was a great time.
So that ends our lovely pre-merge. I see
Then we
this all the
merged.
time. I say this a lot of the time. I think that this season actually had a really fun pre-merge cast. Like I think that there was a lot of fun players that went really early this season and like brought some fun, interesting tribals in there. Like I think this was a pretty I say this cast was pretty well rounded overall. Like even the pre-merge.
I would say specifically the ones that were fun were Jamie and Taylor.
The Everdeen pre-mergers were all good.
Sean was not as fun as the other two, but like it's because
I mean,
it was his first
Why
org.
got an idol in the first round when
But
it's
he
physically
was-
impossible for you to get an idol is pretty fun in my opinion.
And he was active. This was one of the very first orgs I've ever played where everybody was active, like starting like right away. First episode, everybody's around. I mean, Sean wasn't at first, but after we lost, he became active. So it was fun.
Yeah,
Not
it was
really,
a fun
but,
season.
you know,
There's
it
a
was
lot
an
of people
experience.
I would like to see back from this pre-merge personally.
Yeah.
Ross, which I have expressed to Ross many times. So then we
Oh,
merge.
I know.
We get to merge the iconic Grid Rose Evergrid tribe. The Grid Rose, the
Grid Rose Evergrid.
grids still stay. The grids still stay haunting because we named the entire merge tribe after it.
Yep.
This and the first challenge for the merge was a very iconic and fun one. If it weren't for what?
The baby.
Oh,
If it weren't for the baby. If it weren't for the baby.
Oh, dear
Which
Lord.
I think this challenge has like still been referenced a couple of times by myself and Adelaide in seasons past this because
Yeah, it has.
we
I
just
ended
love
up-
torturing you guys with it so much.
I ended up being prod for Jesse in a different org, and we were referencing it there too.
It really was a traumatizing challenge, but it was very fun from our
I'm honestly surprised that the grid is the thing that traumatized you and not this.
It can be both.
I think both. I think it's both here.
I saw this challenge and I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Well,
See,
Jesse
Nope.
works nights at that time, so like I
he
was
unstoppable.
up because I was like, well, I would like immunity, and then Jesse just kept doing it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it to Jesse.
Just let him have it.
Well, man, it's not worth it.
To have this, so I think I messaged him, and I'm like, I'm going to sleep. Congrats on the immunity.
See, this challenge was one that we planned pretty early on, I'm pretty sure, because I love a little endurance challenge. I don't like a lot of them, but I do like throwing like one endurance in just because people I just think it just gets funny. Like I think almost anytime I've planned a challenge for this org, it's been an endurance challenge.
Not every
that has
time.
been
There's
some
been a
sort of-
couple that haven't.
Yeah, because I also planned the What's That I Had in season 3.
Well, that was an endurance challenge. What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I love it.
No, I said I don't think that's all the ones you planned, but then
I
you
think-
brought up that one specifically.
I think it's because I don't sleep, so like I do well in endurance challenges, so I like planning them. And then Adelaide just loves torture. I think. So this was a very easy one for us to play.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Adelaide just loves torture.
Some of the ideas Adelaide has sent me actually make me wince for the players. And I'm kind of just like,
Yeah,
no,
sometimes Adelaide.
no, I think we're taking it too far. There comes a point where you realize, no, I think this is too much.
Yeah, sometimes Adelaide has ideas, and we're like, Adelaide, no, that's too cruel.
Adelaide, no, spray.
So this was Jesse wins immunity here, as we just said, because he was working nights and was up anyways. And this is when Chrissy goes home, which I remember this being kind of a spicy tribal a little bit.
This was
Miss
crazy.
Kayl.
Yeah,
Miss Kayl over there.
You know, my plan would have worked to get Dennis out too if it hadn't been for MK and Chrissy. If they could have just kept their mouths quiet, you know, and not blabbed to the entire world, I would have gone off, and I stand by that. I think Dennis, it wasn't personal. I just like recognized too that you were close with Jesse, and I'm not really someone that likes sharing people that I'm also close with. So I was just like, you're a threat to my game simply because you're close with Jesse. And like, I knew obviously you'd played really well considering how many times you'd gone to tribal and survived. And so I was like, no, Dennis is a huge threat in this game. And like, I was gonna work too. I was, you know, building people up and like totally
there was a real hint of a Dennis vote there for a second. Like, I
There
don't know if I thought it was going to happen.
There was.
Yeah.
And then, like, Kayl makes all of these plans, like, planning
Yeah.
my demise. And then Chrissy comes right to me, like, creating an alliance with me and Nikki. It's like, Kayl's going for you, Dennis. Like, you're in trouble. And I'm like, oh my God, what the hell is happening?
Yeah. And then
Do we know
too,
why she
MK
did that?
started drama between me and Chrissy, because I will say this, I did say that she was annoying during the Nathan vote, that I said that she was annoying me because I was trying to have a serious discussion with her and she wouldn't stop changing the subject. Not that she was annoying, just that she was annoying me. Because I'm like, oh, you're supposed to be my close ally. Can we stay on topic and then we can change subject?
The reason that Chrissy came to me and Nikki is because Chrissy, I love her. She's a wonderful person, but she is a known metagamer. And me, Chrissy, and Nikki have known each other for like 4 years at this point. So we are all very familiar of each other. So that's why I believe she came to us and told us right away.
And then like all of the alliances and stuff though, because like my strategy was basically, oh, like let me have this conversation with someone and then I'll volunteer to go talk to someone else just so information doesn't get mixed in crosshairs, right? So then it's like, yeah, if you want to check in with so and so, I think they're on board, right? So then it's like they've already had the discussion with me about the plan and it was working. I was doing that with all of the people that were involved. And then suddenly Christy's like, let's make an alliance chat. I'm like, do we need one? No, I've told different people different information. Please stop.
Yeah, she made, because she had the alliance with me and you in it, and was like pinging me in it to check DMs, and I was like,
I remember that.
Happening.
Like, it was funny though, because like as soon as Chrissy like came and told us this, I immediately went to Kayl and went to like, so Kayl, is there something you want to tell me? Like, I'm hearing that you're targeting me here. And Kayl's like, okay, let's clear the air. Let's figure this stuff out. And so
and I was, I knew at that point that I'm like, okay, I need to save face to make sure I'm not the vote. So like, I was just completely 100% honest with Dennis and upfront about everything. Like, not a single lie did I say. And so that way too, when all my other lies got back to Dennis, Dennis could be like, yeah, Kayl already told me this.
Yep.
So that kind of started me and Dennis's rivalry, but I also think it was like this start of us like actually trusting each other, but knowing that sometimes we'll work together, sometimes we're not.
There was a mutual respect there. Like we knew we were not on the same side. We knew we were like gunning for each other, and we did the entire season. Like I think outside of Wonder and Jesse, like my conversations with you, Kayl, were probably like the best out of anybody else that I've had. even though I had no intentions of working with you ever in this game.
Yeah.
There's a while for us, like, with like hosts watching them. There was a while where we were like, we actually like don't know who's gonna go home here. Like, I remember like people in Spec Lounge were like, oh, so like, what's happening like with the vote? Like is Dennis going? Like, me and Allie were like, couldn't tell you, don't know, because it was.
And I think I just come in and I'm like, I'll be honest, I have no idea what the hell is going on.
Yeah, this is a very chaotic rival. We were like, we don't even know what's happening, because like we could see that the alliance chats were like popping off, but like no one was really updating their confessional. So we were like, who is going home? Like literally, who's going home here? I was like, it seems to be some combination between Dennis, Kayl, or Chrissy, but like honestly, like I wouldn't be shocked if like somehow out of left field, like Bo or someone gets brought up. Like I would, like we had no idea what was happening. Like,
So yeah, any misstep in during that time probably would have like caused that person to go home, and unfortunately it was Chrissy, because Chrissy decided to do a tell-all but lied in the tell-all.
She did. She did.
Know the truth, so I don't know why you're lying.
Like, we already talked at this point. We already knew everything, and then she's in the tribal chat, like just saying everything, and it's like, you are missing like so many points in this.
Yeah, and so it was pretty much unanimously agreed that Chrissy would be the vote.
Yeah, I think it was everyone on Chrissy, and then Chrissy voted you.
Yeah, which I understand why, honestly. I still don't think she likes me, but honestly, I kind of I like her, even if she doesn't like me. And she did say some names to me, but she did call me knockoff Margot Robbie. And as far as because Margot Robbie is so pretty, I'm like, thank you.
That's a compliment.
Right?
Chrissy's great TV though. She's
literally
great.
Barbie.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
No, I remember Chrissy. Me and Chrissy are on a different hosting team together, and I've watched her play a couple of times. I've played with her myself, and one thing about Chrissy is she will bring the chaos. Like, she is a chaotic queen, and like I love her for it, because it's just so fun to watch.
1000%.
It's just she's an awesome person.
Absolutely.
And
she's very entertaining.
Yeah,
I
she's
was
very
actually
entertaining.
panicking though.
Playing with her
that night.
playing with her is terrifying. Watching
So
her
I was like, did I just tank my game?
Yeah. Yeah, luckily the one time I played with Chrissy, I was on her good side and not her bad side.
Well, I was on her good side, and then MK decided to blow that up.
MK was also an agent of chaos throughout this whole season.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Sure
MK.
was.
Oh my God, MK. We're getting there. I think there's a couple rounds left. Before
I
that,
have my favorite round next. We
MK's
can't skip
shenanigans
forward.
throughout this merge, but because he was also very.
Oh God, the
heavily-
next one's your favorite round.
Oh my
It
god.
is.
All
Okay,
right, let's do it.
This next round this was also insane. This was the Hunger Games Trivia Challenge, which I remember this challenge took some fine tuning to make, because we were like, we want to do something trivia based, but we also don't want to, because we had kind of been explicit, and like I try to do this a lot when I theme and host orgs, that like I don't want people who have prior knowledge to have too much of an advantage over people who don't know as much. You know what I mean? Like, some people like might just, have really wanted to play our org, and just this is the season where the timelines worked out. They might not know a lot about the Hunger Games. So I was like, let's find some clips and do the trivia like based on that, so that it's just based on the content, and people obviously people who've seen the movies a number of times might have these scenes memorized and have a bit of an advantage, Kayl.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind too, me and Adelaide have been playing movie trivia together for a very long time. So I remember, like, for me, I watched the first clip and then did the question. I was like, oh, I don't need to watch these clips. And I didn't watch a single clip after that.
Yeah, so like,
Damn.
but also like it didn't give you too much of an advantage, whereas if I just like gave you a random question from the movie versus if somebody hadn't seen the movie,
Yeah, absolutely.
I tried to make it as fair as.
I think for me, like, just doing movie trivia so much throughout the last couple years that I'm just like, I know my movie trivia pretty well, especially when it comes to like a franchise that I'm super familiar with.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Adelaide, same thing too. So that's why Adelaide had like a list made, and I was like, let's like maybe take some clips, because not everyone does movie trivia. Anyways, your knowledge paid off, and you did win immunity this round.
At a very clutch time after
Very
a very
clutch
messy
time.
tribal where my name was thrown out.
Yeah, it was
Definitely
probably
that.
very good timing for you to win that immunity.
Absolutely.
And this tribal was crazy.
Oh,
Um,
God.
This was
Yes.
amazing.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Madison, our most robbed of the season, Madison.
Voted out on her birthday.
Voted
That
out
is
On her birthday.
Okay.
in the worst way to go ever.
To be fair, like it just so happened that the stars aligned where the opportunity to take the hit happened on her birthday. Like it was nothing about her.
It wasn't because it was her
I
birthday.
think too,
Yeah.
this was the time that I used my materials and me and Jesse crafted a swap together that
Yes.
you see later on in the game. Not used by me or Jesse though.
No,
No.
certainly wasn't. Was it? Certainly
No.
was
Oh, wait, was
not.
this the round? No, because I couldn't figure out how that came into play. This is
Yup.
the round. Oh boy.
This
Oh,
is the round
boy.
me and Jesse made
I
a swap
remember.
together.
You never actually told me you did that.
I
MK told me you did that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Like I
I'm
said,
sorry,
me and
fucking
Jesse had a
what?
side thing going.
Oh, you really did. You
It
had the
was great.
Disneyland bomb.
You
The Disneyland
created that swap with him, and then he brought it to like me and Wonder, and he's like, "Okay, guys, we have another thing to add to our toolkit.
I
We have a
was
swap now,
yeah.
too."
And then the fact that he doesn't give it to me when he later and gives it to you instead, I'm like, dude, that's mine.
Madison may have been robbed. You were robbed of that swap.
I just
I forgot about that actually.
No, that's so funny. Because I've already said it. I don't know. I don't remember anything about this season because this is my one season where I really like.
Season.
I wouldn't even call it an off season as far as because I was like keeping track of like how the season was going. I was making sure there was no fires or anything because God forbid we had another season 3. I was like there just to make sure nothing like went terribly wrong, and thankfully nothing did.
It went well. I slayed
Yeah.
well.
No, it went well. The only issue, which we'll get to in a couple of rounds here,
Yes, but
We're almost there.
anyways,
and I did step
does
in,
anybody,
and for the record, I did step in for that.
yes,
but
does
you
anybody want to discuss their perspectives on this tribal and how it went down? Because I think this is a big one.
Love this one.
I'm like reading through my confessional right now to figure out what my thoughts were because I just
So-
remember being so mad.
let me set the stage for this, right? Okay. So we have me, Jesse, and Wonder, and then Jesse had like relationship with Kayl and the other people from the Trinket tribe, and then me and Wonder had a relationship with Nikki and Bo from the Haymitch tribe. So that's like kind of what we're balancing, right? So a lot of people wanted to vote for Libby to weaken like that group of people
The
from
Malak
Haymitch,
group,
right?
yeah.
Yes. But we knew that Libby had an idol. So and I made sure that everybody, because I told you, Belle, like we were on a VC and I told you like she has the idol. And that isn't gonna work. Like we can vote Libby all we want. She's playing her idol. There's no way she doesn't play her idol here. And so then the backup vote was going to be Jesse, and
You were not willing to do that.
I was not okay
No.
with that. at
neither
all.
was I.
And then Bella was like telling me, she's like, "No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like we'll just make sure that Libby doesn't play the idol." And I'm like, "Okay, this isn't gonna work." So
I think for me too, because I like put my hand in the cookie jar and got caught in the last tribal, that I was really trying to play it low key to try to recover my like threat level.
Right.
And like, yeah, it definitely worked, but at what cost?
so we were VCing with like a whole bunch of people. I talked with Belle for like an hour, I think, about this
Yeah.
whole thing, and Belle wasn't budging. And like I seriously did up till this point wanted to work with you, Belle, but you were like campy Madison. Anybody else? not Madison. I'm like, okay.
I can
noted.
quote my confessional here about this. I said Dennis is very anti-Malark, which like, hey, sure, but he's like, oh, but I like Bo and Nikki, so I don't want them gone, and Libby has the idol, so boy, you can just say you want Madison gone.
So, like, we were, no joke, like an hour maybe before votes are due, me, Wonder, and Jesse are on a VC, like trying to figure out everything. Like, we had all the information, we collected everything from like
I listened
Nikki
to
and
this. It
Bo.
was very fun.
We were going through scenario after scenario after scenario, trying to figure out what we could use from all of the advantages, because we had a swap, we had an extra vote, we had a negate a vote, we had an idol. Like, we were trying to figure out what we could do here to make this work. So we knew where everybody was voting, right? So we came up with this idea that, like, okay, well, the people that are going to vote for Libby, vote for Libby. Libby's going to play her idol, right? And then that leaves, 6 votes left. 3 of them are going to be on Jesse as a backup. Why don't we put our 3 votes on Madison and then use one of our extra votes, and then Madison goes home once Libby plays her idol, right? So that was the plan. And it worked great. And the reason it was Madison was because Madison was the only person that the 3 of us didn't have a strong connection with at that point, right? Kayl was immune, but Jesse was close with Kayl. Me and Wonder built relationships with Nikki and Bo. MK, like, me and Wonder felt pretty good about. And then Belle, like, that VC that we had, like, took that off of you and put that onto Madison, because I was pretty sure that Jesse wanted to vote for you here and not Madison. But I'm like, nope, we need to take out a Malark. Like, that's just what we need to do, and that got him onto Madison.
Yeah,
so
that was a heavy
Wonder
part
and
of
I
our-
too also started getting closer that round, because Wonder and I had played in my first game together, and we were not on the same side. So like Wonder and I had kind of like decided, like, you know what, maybe we should start, like, maybe we could work together. And then that also like helped kind of pull the wool over my eyes there too.
Well, and it just, like, it weakened the bonds that people had with other people that weren't us too. Like, that's kind of like what we were thinking.
Right.
Because Madison was pretty connected. So
Madison
if
was in a
we
great
could,
spot at this point,
No,
actually.
Madison
was.
was doing so well.
Because Madison was really close with like you, Kayl and Belle. She was close with you guys, and then obviously she was in with the Malark group as well. So
Yep.
she was really
Yep.
connected with a lot of people. Like, she was in
So-
like a very good position.
this was the chance that we had, the 3 of us, to like make something happen. And we made sure that Libby played her idol, because we told Nikki that all of the votes that were going to be on Libby and that we didn't want Libby to go. So we were okay with Jesse being the vote. And then we told you, Belle and Kayl, that we were okay with voting Libby. So we made everyone, like, nobody knew that Madison
No.
was going to go that route
Mhm.
besides
It
the
was
3 of us.
a-
Not a single person.
Yeah. It was such an impressive move.
It was I remember listening to you guys on VC before the tribal, and I was like, this is like such an amazing move if they can pull it off. But on the other hand, I was like, I feel so sad for Madison at the same time. I was like,
Like,
I feel so bad. But also,
when
this
do you
is, like,
ever
fucking
see
amazing.
like 3 people, just 3 people all on their own, like creating a move like this when there's 10 people in the game still? Like, it just blew my mind that it worked. Like, we were so happy.
They blew everyone's minds.
Yeah, it was insane. It was
This-
crazy watching this all go down.
This round was the best Survivor I've ever played in my life. So I was really proud of this. It just really sucked that it happened on her birthday, but
Yeah.
this was the opportunity to make the move.
Shout out to Madison, our most robbed queen. Love her so
Shout
much.
out.
What a
Love
wonderful,
Madison.
wonderful, amazing person.
She did eventually get her win.
She
So-
did.
She
Amazing.
did. She did end up getting a win.
Amazing person. Love her so much. Then next we have touchy subjects.
Oh boy.
I feel like Dennis, this is a rough one for you, I think.
Sure was. Yep.
Dennis is I believe.
This season was a rough one for me up to this point.
Dennis really got put through the ringer, I think, during these answers. I actually don't remember a lot of them, but I feel like, Dennis, you won a lot of them.
We can look through the answers. I'm curious. Let's go.
But also,
see.
Dennis, this
That
round
is a good one.
you had a challenge disadvantage played on you in this round. Also,
Oh, this is okay. So I was actually going through making the notes earlier, and I saw Dennis wins immunity. So I'm like, wait, then when the fuck did he play the swap?
That's not this round.
Mm.
That comes up later, Ross.
I think Belle, we played it later.
Yeah, so I played it, and somebody on production team forgot to add it.
I don't know if that was me or Adelaide. It was one of us. Probably me.
Oh, you were the one apologizing for it, at least.
It was probably me. It was definitely me.
So yeah,
Had a
I
little bit there.
tried to use my challenge disadvantage on Dennis at this round, but it ended up
If only
not-
you did.
yeah. So
only
it ended
you
up not
did.
getting used by accident, and I held on to it to use for a later day, knowing
What a
the entire
shame.
time I was holding it that I was going to be using it on Dennis.
Yeah.
What a shame. You were
Yeah,
so
I
mad at me after the last vote. Like
No,
that.
here's the thing,
That was
Dennis.
the end of our
I had been wanting
relationship.
you out since before that vote. Like, I had been wanting a Dennis vote very desperately, even when you were
We
like, "Yeah, I
just-
wanted to work together." I wanted
We
you out
just
that
met the
whole
round
VC.
before.
You had that aura of like such a power player and well connected. You would come out of all of these tribals strong. I knew that underdog story, if you made it far, would be so powerful. I was like, this is not somebody I think that we can let get far into this game.
Exactly. Me and Belle were on the exact same page there.
Yeah, me and Kayl
that
desperately
you were-
wanted you out.
Yeah, it sucked that you were me. And so what we did every time you won immunity is we would just like build anger against you for the rest of the season.
Dennis
Every
actually
time
didn't
you got
win.
immune, we got angry.
Yeah.
Dennis actually didn't win immunity here. It was
I did not.
Bo,
no.
right?
Yep.
It was Bo. Bo was immune here. Yeah, that was my bad on the challenge disadvantage. I remember it was my friend's birthday this weekend that like the end of last round into this round happened. So like I remember I was on my way to the cabin when Madison got voted out because I couldn't run that tribal. And then I think I was like coming back or had just gotten home like when this challenge was being run. So I was just like overtired and probably hungover and completely missed the challenge disadvantage. That was my bad. So I will take credit for that.
This
fumble.
round,
I'm
this
so sorry,
round,
Belle.
these next two rounds were really rough. Like these were the two like worst rounds of the entire season.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is when we finally see the death of Mr. Jesse.
Yeah, which like that was hard for me, but I was so upset with Jesse because I was like, dude, I went to bat for you multiple times just for you to like lie to me and pull the wool over my eyes. And I'm like, that's not cool because like now I don't know that I can ever trust you again.
The one nice thing that Jesse did was like me and Wonder were going on like the apology tour, right? And Jesse was just so arrogant about like what just happened.
Yeah, Jesse did not go on his apology.
He was so, and I was like, Jesse, you have to chill right now. So he like apologized to me and stuff. And then I had told him that I was voting for him. And I was like, it was already past the time to use the swap. So I should have asked for it back. Besides the point. But Jesse and I had a nice heart to heart before that tribal.
Yeah.
During Yunjin.
And there was also an extra vote played this round by Nikki on Jesse,
Yeah, that was
Poor
weird.
Jesse.
which didn't
Yeah,
need.
that was
She didn't
not
need it.
necessary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't need it. She did not need to do it. She probably should have saved it for 2 rounds. But I digress. And so
Rest in peace, Jesse.
rest in peace,
I didn't vote for
Jesse.
Jesse. We stood. Me, Wonder, Jesse stood strong. We voted for
Sorry,
Libby
the
here.
Everdeen 3.
Yeah, we knew we could not let the Everdeen 3 get further after you guys pulled
Yeah.
that shit, though.
I got so close to getting rid of best duo and doing best trio and giving it to Everdeen 3. I'm not
You
gonna
should
lie.
have. It was.
I
No,
absolutely
you deserve
considered
that.
it. I absolutely
You
considered
were
it.
like the Tika 3 from Survivor 44, but like a lot more evil.
A lot more evil, and you all didn't make it to the end.
And by
It
that
was a
point,
good
too, me and Wonder had gotten like really close to, so I was like, I don't want to vote Wonder. Like, I understand why she did what she did. Like,
Right.
I just think like Jesse being arrogant saved my ass this round.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
Like
definitely did.
I would have been
It
gone.
did.
I do think it was around this time that Wonder did kind of start making a lot of other bonds outside of Dennis and Jesse as well. Like I think Wonder was Kayl, like you and her were kind of starting to get closer. Belle, I think you and Wonder kind of started developing a relationship, and this is kind of when Wonder like spread herself out a little bit. So, which was a good move for her part because I think it made her the least threatening of the Everdeen three for sure. Because I think people thought that they could use her.
Even though Wonder
She seemed like the innocent follower to the evil Dennis and Jesse trio.
Yeah.
she was just as part of every single thing that we did though.
Oh yeah, no, we
Everything that
learned.
you guys said to her went right back to us. She was a part of every step of the way.
Oh, absolutely.
No, but she did an amazing job as presenting herself as like, I'm very open, I'm just trying to keep myself safe. And like it was very well done.
No, Wonder's a great player. Wonder
She's
is
amazing.
amazing.
Love
She's
her.
so good.
love her. Anyways, we'll get more on. Well, I'm sure we'll get more into Wonder later. Next we had the Peanut Logic Puzzle Challenge, which is also another staple because we like to let Peanut do things sometimes.
I hated that puzzle.
Most people
I
do
was-
every time we do it.
I was super duper sick and like in and out of sleep the entire day, and I had to abstain from that challenge.
I remember him posting it, and I remember someone doing it, and Peanut wasn't around to like grade it, and someone asked me, and I was like, I could not tell you. The answer to
Being
that.
so upset, and like I started having a meltdown. Like I started having an ADHD meltdown over this challenge in the kitchen, and my mom was there. She was like, "Dude, like, are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, look at this stupid
Discord Survivor
some
is killing
swear
me.
words, some very unladylike words to her about this challenge." And I gave her my notebook, and she did it for me.
Shout out Kayl's mom. Shout out.
Kayl got outside help confirmed. No one
Damn, that's crazy. We're gonna have to revoke that pause.
Take
That's
that pause.
wild.
Kidding.
Take that
Kidding.
pause
was-
off that headline right now.
I was so upset after too. Because
I
we
know.
just started guessing together at the end until I got it right.
One of my favorite thing about orgs, this is kind of off topic, is like when parents like are so supportive during org endeavors. Like my mom helped me with the scavenger hunt challenge once. Like I love when parents get invested with it. It's so fun to me. Anyway,
Oh,
My
one
parents
up you.
just
I
asked,
had
why
my
you
dad
wasting your
actually
time
play an
this
org.
on this stuff.
yeah, like my mom like would actively ask me how I was doing in a Big Brother org one. She's like, "Did you win? Did you win HOH?" I'm like, no, mom, I'm in the trenches. Anyways, MK wins this challenge, which doesn't matter.
MK becomes the second player in Randomvivor history to win immunity and quit in the same round.
This is true. Yeah. Yeah, which is crazy if that's happened twice. But this round was, I think, definitely a hard one on a lot of people, not just
It was
on a game
rough.
level, but
I
emotionally as
want to ask
well.
the outside perspective of this round because I think we've heard a lot from Dennis already. In terms of
Yeah,
trials.
Dennis, me and Ross actually had a VC with Dennis.
It was like
I
a
don't know if
3-hour VC Dennis
yeah, I
asked
don't know if
for.
it was
with-
during
with
this round
three
or
of us.
like or I don't remember if it was during this round or like just
It was
after
right
this
after.
It
It
was-
was
it
right
was-
after.
Right after MK quit.
Right,
like,
because
immediately
not only was
after.
this round like hard in terms of game for a lot of people, I think it was also like hard emotionally on a lot of people. Also,
Yeah.
So-
It got so bad that I ended up having to get involved at points.
and Ross wasn't
so,
doing anything this season. So,
Yeah.
anyways, if anybody would like to speak on our Chaos King MK,
I
And-
think for me, like MK was still really high in my trust rankings, even if I was not high in his. He's definitely like the player like between Belle, Wonder, and MK. Like socially, I had the best connection with them at this point. So it was like, he sent me a message beforehand that he was thinking about leaving, and I like kind of tried to deter him away from it, and then I kind of realized, I honestly, I'm not going to be able to change his mind. I just need to support him right now. And so, like, that was my perspective of it. And then even now, me and MK still chat and stuff. He's a darling little sweetheart.
he is a
Mhm.
I think
Okay.
emotionally, the toll of him exiting, like, you could feel, like, the absence of his presence.
yeah. MK was a big
Yeah.
personality in this cast. Like he was a joy to have around, and he was friends with a lot of people. He was very active in his confessionals, and he was a good player. He was playing a great game up until this point. He was doing really, really well for himself. He was somebody who I think people knew was a threat, but like never really wanted to take the shot at this point. So I think he was doing really well for himself in the game.
He had himself in a lot of pockets, but was never a giant threat that needed to be taken out.
Yeah, because I think there had been enough other conflicts with other people, Dennis and Kayl, like for yourselves, that there were people who were, while he was a big threat, there were still bigger threats that he could hide behind at this time.
So for this round, this was like me and MK, like ever since we swapped together, like I felt like we were close-ish. Like we had a lot of very good conversations. Obviously with taking Madison out, like he was hurt by that.
Sorry.
And it was very difficult for him to like accept our apology, or my apology from that round. And he was very upset, like very, very upset, to the point where like he didn't trust me at all. So meanwhile, while that's happening, my thought process was that I was going to play the swap this round, and I actually did play the swap. And then he quit, and then that made that like not a thing.
Yeah, because Tribal got canceled. We let you.
Right. So, because he quit like right after I played the swap. Like when you guys were announcing that he quit, I thought it was you announcing me playing the swap. That's what I thought was happening. And right before that is when I like outed Nikki and Nikki's advantage that she had. And because my hope was that I'm going to swap out of here. I want Wonder to stay safe. So I'm going to try to like throw some heat onto Nikki, and hopefully that will allow Wonder to still be around, knowing that if it didn't work, that Wonder still had the idol that she could use if needed, right? So that was kind of like the thought process with that. But MK just like was furious, and the thing that he was furious about is that I told him about Nikki's advantage that she had, and he was very upset that I kept that from him up to this point in the game. He's like, if we're working so close, why are you just telling me this now? And throughout the whole conversation, everything that we talked about was completely game related, and all of the screenshots of our conversation, like I sent to Emma and Ross, and they can verify, like there was not a single thing that, like I said, that crossed the line. There was not anything that I said that, pushed him to quit, like in a normal context of the game. It was a normal conversation that you would have like within the game. So for him quitting, and then him like blaming me for him quitting was really hurtful. Because I think that he told like a couple of you or a couple of people like throughout the game that I was the reason that he quit, and it wasn't game related. And none of that from my perspective was true, because that would have been the same conversation that I would have had like with you, Kayl, if something were to happen. And it was really rough because after he quit, nobody would talk to me. Everybody was pissed at me.
I talked to you.
You did. You were like,
I didn't.
I talked to Dennis.
I did not.
Nikki didn't, Bo didn't, like it was you and Wonder, and then that was it. And it was really difficult. I mean, even like coming out of the game and like seeing like what was being said in the spec lounge from him, it just blew my mind. Like I'm a villain, yes. I'm not a hurtful person. Like I don't want to cause anybody pain. Like I genuinely care about people. I liked MK, but I'm playing the game, and so it was rough. It was a rough
this
round.
was a very tough round from a hosting standpoint as well, especially with like this stuff, like like with, and we don't have access to DM, so we didn't know what MK had said to other people and stuff before he left. And like as far as like from what MK was saying to us in submissions, his mental health was just really bad, and the game was just like adding to that a little bit, and that was why he quit. He even said, I'm pretty sure in his submissions for his confessional at one point to us, that it was not Dennis's fault.
He put it in confessionals afterwards, I think.
Yeah, he said that he had no animosity towards Dennis and that it wasn't Dennis's fault. So that's why when Dennis approached us afterwards, saying that MK had told people it was on him, we were like a little bit confused, because from as far as we knew, it was just that the game was just a little bit too much on him mentally and he needed to step back. And MK was someone that me and Ross have known for a while. He actually used to be a host in Randomvivor. I don't know if you knew that.
He made all the challenges for season 2.
Yeah, MK helped us host in season 2, so he's, been a friend of ours for a while. So when he said that his mental health was bad and the game was too much, we totally respected his wishes to quit. Like, completely valid.
I think I tried to veer him off. I'm like, can you give it a day and just see how you feel? And he's like, no. So.
Yeah, so
and I feel like with this, it didn't damage my relationship with Wonder. It didn't damage my relationship with Kayl, because me and Kayl already had that animosity, mutual respect, but we were adversaries, right?
Oh yeah, we were at each other's throats. I did use that round to garner more animosity towards you because I wanted you out of the game.
This irreparably damaged my game through the whole rest of the season.
And then it was really hard for us too, from a hosting standpoint, because once Dennis, you had shown us the screenshots of everything and we knew what was going down. I remember I still couldn't say anything about it because it would have been a little game breaky, or it may have seemed a little bit biased.
Which is fair, and you guys.
I think I explained this to you on the BC too. It was we can't really say anything because MK's out of the game now, and we don't want to make it seem like being biased or trying to influence people to think a certain way.
I didn't ask you to say anything either, though. I just wanted to.
No, you specifically said, I'm not asking you to say anything. I just want to vent.
Yeah. Which I mean, I feel like Ross knows this. And from anyone who's watched any of the seasons before this, if it was something bad, I do not tolerate that kind of shit before. I laid the ban on someone in season 3.
You would have. I think I would have as well. I mean, we've done that before. I mean, look at season 5.
We're very open when we think something crosses a line, there's consequences to be dealt with that. So it was kind of hard for me watching people kind of give you shit for that, when I feel like people as a hosting team should have known that if we thought it was out of line, or we thought there was lines crossed, or things got too personal, or things got nasty, that we would have done something about it.
If we thought lines got crossed, Dennis, you wouldn't be in this call right now.
No.
Yeah, I think it was really just a situation of MK's mental health was bad and he had to go, which is so fair, and I'm proud of him for taking care of his mental health. That being said, I was told Dennis was the reason for it, and I ran with that.
That part at the end, though, that was from that moment on, there was not a single thing. There was not a move. There was not a vote. There was not a thing I could do to win this season from that moment right there. It didn't matter if I had a perfect game in creating blindside and making things, or how great my relationships were, or my social game was. Nothing was going to change anything else from this point on.
Yeah,
and Kayl. Go ahead, Kayl.
I was about to say me and you, from that point, kind of garnered a little bit of trust with Nikki and Bo to get you out as soon as we could, which was our wet dream come true.
Yeah, and we spent that whole game making sure that you didn't get any more resume building moves after the Madison vote. We would not let you have a big move after that.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And I wasn't up for elimination for the whole rest of the game after this either.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
you were stuck
with
with
for you guys. Yeah. Dennis still had a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
My swap.
So I did actually confirm before this, Dennis, you do not hold the record for the most immunities in a single season. So.
I don't. I should have, but somebody gave me a challenge disadvantage that took away one of my wins.
And I will do that again in a heartbeat.
Immediately.
There's no question.
It's silver, right, Ross?
Yeah, it's silver. It's silver. Yeah. And I think it's specifically season 4.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty up there too. I think I had 4 my season, but I digress. Anyways.
Should have been 5. Should have been 5. But it's
It
okay.
should have been 5.
It's all good.
So that was a tough round, and I know that was a lot to unpack. So
I just wanted to clear the air because I feel that this like stained like what would have been like a really good season for me. Not even from a playing wise, just from like a personal like standpoint, because I try not to be that person. Like I don't want to like hurt people, and I felt awful that MK felt that way, and it was rough. It was really bad, and that's why we had a 3-hour VC about talking about it.
That's when you and I really kind of started getting closer socially. I mean, I think by this point in the game, I had actually started almost talking to you more than I talked to Belle.
Yeah, we did. We had really good conversations after this.
Yeah,
like, really good conversations.
Yeah. And so it was kind of like a thing of like when I going into that next tribal, seeing you play that swap, I was like, damn, Dennis, you know what? You got me, respect.
So this next challenge was entanglement, which I think, honestly, I think we just got lazy and threw this one in there. Be so for real. Be so honest.
So I was actually on a call with Adelaide before we did this while I was making the notes. Adelaide said that they just thought it was a cool challenge. And I'm just like,
I was like, it kind of like feels Hunger Games-y, you know, like a rope.
Entanglement.
Like it feels like Hunger Games-y, kind of. Like, I don't know, ropes. I don't know. You'd have to, I don't know. Dennis wins this immunity.
Something we will be saying
the first of many in this end game. And then this tribal was Nikki, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was Nikki, and Dennis swapped the hell out of there. No,
not this one.
No, Dennis was immune.
Not
right,
yet.
Dennis was immune. So Dennis did not swap the hell out yet.
That's later.
That's the next round. But there was a steal vote played.
Yeah.
This round.
Yeah. So, like I had said, me and Belle kind of made a pact with Nikki and Bo to like get Dennis out ASAP. And so when Dennis won immunity, Nikki and Bo were like, "Well, I guess we'll just take out Wonder." And I was not okay with that. I was like, "Okay, I promised Dennis, I didn't promise Wonder."
This was when the Belle Wonder Kayl alliance was formed as well. Yes. And that was when we decided that we would want to stick together and actually take out Nikki and Bo.
Yep.
And I don't know how I convinced Bo that I was fully with him.
You did.
I played up the flabbergasted because I voted for Wonder, knowing that my vote wouldn't be valid and that it was Nikki going home.
Mm-hmm.
But we had come up with this plan together that I would be blindsided at this vote alongside Bo and Libby.
Right. This is a really good move for you, Belle. This is a great move.
Yeah, so we had come up with this whole thing so that I could stay in with Bo and Libby and figure out what their plans were, and they would expect that I was absolutely not working with Wonder because I hadn't been up to this point.
Yeah,
and it worked well too though, because like we used more advantages this round, like where I nullified one of Wonder's votes and then Wonder played her steal a vote, right? On Libby.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Libby's vote was stolen by Wonder.
Yeah. So
and I
like
think
we were making sure.
I came to you, Dennis, and I was like, they want to vote Wonder. I don't want to do that. So what are we doing together?
Yep.
Yeah, so you negated Nikki's vote, and Wonder stole Libby's vote, which caused Nikki to go home here. Which I think I said this like towards the end of the season, Belle, that I think this move for you of pretending to be blindsided by by the Wonder vote, and you actually working with Wonder and knowing what was going on. I think that this was like partially one of your game-winning moves. Like, I think that this really cemented you in a great position where you were trusted and liked by everyone, and it set you up well to get to the end.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the moves I'm most proud of.
Because it was a big move for you, but you never took any of the heat for it. There were still bigger threats and bigger players out there that you were like so well insulated.
Yeah, I got to put on the performance of my life afterwards about how how could they do this? This is so mean. Damn Dennis again!
This is why I said Nikki should have kept that extra vote till this round, probably, because
Yo, yeah, absolutely too.
I don't think it changes the outcome.
It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered.
No.
Because somehow I got left out of the loop for when Dennis was telling everyone about his advantage. I had actually gotten left out of it. I didn't know Nikki had an advantage until Nikki came to me and was like, I can't believe Dennis is telling everyone I have this advantage. And I'm like, did everyone assume that I know and not tell me? Nikki told me herself, and I was like, oh, I didn't know this.
I think I told Belle and I told MK because I was hoping that would spread from there.
Yeah, and I think those two just assumed that I knew or something. I'm not sure, Belle, if you want to weigh in on that, but I didn't know until Nikki told me.
About her advantage?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I knew for rounds about that. I knew from Nikki. Nikki had told me. I knew before Dennis told me.
Damn. Yeah, I think there were a lot of advantages this season, but I think that it whatever way that they played out, it didn't feel like it was overkill. Like I think that the advantages they were all used in for the most part in really well, really good ways.
And we've had seasons where we kind of look back and we're like, maybe we did a little too much.
Somehow this is never one of them. Somehow this is never one of the seasons we look back at and we're like, there was too many advantages, because I think they were played out so they were kind of spaced out and they were made at different points in the game and stuff like that. That while there were a lot of them, it was paced well, so it didn't feel like there was one round where everything got dumped at once. Yeah, so RIP to Nikki. She had a better showing in a later season, so congrats to her.
She'll be on that podcast whenever we film.
Yeah, Nikki will make an appearance on a podcast episode, so queen. Next we have categories, which is when the challenges advantage gets played for realsies this time.
Oh.
For actuals.
For real. I didn't forget this time.
Darn it.
I didn't fuck up this time.
You could have.
So Dennis was going to. She almost did. I had to remind her.
Listen, I'm pretty. I never said I'm smart. I've never once claimed to be smart.
But because Dennis was going to win. There was the announcement made oh, Dennis won, and I quickly was in my submissions being my challenge disadvantage, and then Emma goes, he would have won if not for.
No, I actually looked. It was Bailey specifically because I actually looked.
Right, it wasn't me this time. It was Bailey.
I'm so sorry I blamed you, Emma.
Oh, I was
Bailey this
so
time.
mad. I was in my submissions. I think it was Gabe that I was fighting with, wasn't it? I'm like, what is this nonsense?
Gabe? Oh no! He was there as a favor for me
pissed.
because he's the one who talked me off of Legend Season 3. So from 3 seasons after that, he kind of just became my put out fires guy.
Yeah, so it wasn't me this time who forgot. It was Bailey, not me. I think I probably just wasn't there to run the actual challenge results. So Bailey did it for me, and I forgot to tell him about the disadvantage. So maybe it was kind of me still.
Yeah, so when I was doing the notes, I saw Dennis
so.
won immunity. I'm like, wait, then where the fuck did he swap?
Because I think also this is the last round, Belle, you could have played the challenge disadvantage. So honestly, it kind of worked out that it didn't get played earlier.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was my last time. So that's why I was desperate to be sure it was played.
Yeah. So because Dennis, you would have won this immunity, but it was actually Libby because of the disadvantage. But it was okay because you just swapped the hell out of there anyways using Kayl's swap.
Thank you, Kayl.
It was immediate too. It was immediate too. I remember that.
It's sure, because
so
they were trying to get the votes in because the rules were if so many votes were in, I couldn't use it.
Yeah,
so
so the rule is it's half the votes or 12 hours have passed.
The second that they said that Libby won, I'm like, swap, I'm done. And then right after that, 3 votes popped up, and I'm like, thank you.
We were really trying to get
my God.
there.
And I completely forgot, Dennis. I completely forgot. You tried to play the swap during the MK tribal.
Yeah, we mentioned that, Ross.
We talked about it.
I've been out of it. Okay.
He did talk about that. Yeah, because he did. He was I think he played it the same time MK quit. So then because the quit happened, we were like, you can keep.
But we hadn't announced it. I kind of was like, can you hold off on that for a second?
Yep.
Yeah, we were like, well, I'll just wait a few minutes on that one there.
You didn't tell me why. Like I said, when you
I was like, just
thought
hold
that
on.
was
because MK had already told me
announcing
he was
my swap.
considering quitting. MK already told me he was considering quitting. So Dennis goes, "Yeah, can I swap?" And I'm just like, "Can you hold off on that for a second?"
Bear with us.
And
Oh.
then you announce MK quit, and I'm like, okay, sneakily speaking, swap
Yeah, so
back.
because you hadn't like actually gotten to play it, we were like, you can keep that. Like it'd be unfair of us to get rid of that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
because Dennis swaps, this is when Bo goes home. Because while there was a lot of alliances and stuff, obviously there's a lot of duos left in the game at this point. There was Dennis and Wonder, Kayl and Belle, and then there was the other duo of Bo and Libby.
Mhm.
So this round, I feel like was kind of just trying to break up one of those duos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Belle, me and Wonder were all working together at that point
Exactly.
too. So for us, it was a pretty easy decision considering Libby had won.
Yeah, I think
I don't even know that we really discussed it that much.
The
It
only
was
downside
just
with
like,
this
oh.
one, the only downside with this vote was like Wonder playing her idol, which I really wish she kept it to the next
I
round
don't-
because I don't know why she played it here.
Yeah,
I don't know
really
why
get
she
either.
played it, because I was pretty clear with them that was like, I'm with you guys. I was lying to Bo at this point, still telling him I was with him. I'm voting Wonder, don't you worry.
Yeah,
I
because
was
you
pretty
told
clear to
Bo
one.
that you wouldn't let him get whatever place it was.
Yeah, I specifically told Bo, don't worry, I'm not gonna let you get 6th place again, as I was writing his name down to get 6th place again.
No.
Yeah.
Because like if
I lied a lot.
if Bo left and Wonder played her idol the next round, like the end game looks different.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Belle, you go
'Cause
home there.
Belle would have been
Yeah.
gone. Yeah.
100%.
Which I think kind of might have set us up for a Wonder Dennis final too.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that would have
probably.
been insane.
Wonder would have won. Like, let's
Yeah.
just be real. Like, that's
Yeah,
what would've
Wonder
happened.
would have won.
Like Dennis kind of already said, the MK stuff kind of just ended his game before it really ended.
Whoever I was up against, if I was up against anyone, I was losing. So, and I knew that. I was okay.
So yeah, well, R.I.P. to Bo. There. Yeah, I don't really know why Wonder played her idol there. She should have saved
No
it for
clue.
her.
Should have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause- yeah, she
It worked
she
out great for me.
I have a trick up my sleeve, and I was like, I don't think you need it, but okay.
Like, okay,
Use
that's what
it, babe. Go nuts.
you do, girl.
Right, because at that point we'd started calling each other. We had started our showmance was in full bloom.
Full bloom.
Mhm.
The showmance we didn't know we needed, but we deserved.
Yes.
So true.
Next challenge. I love this challenge. This was entirely a me brainchild. This was the escape the arena, the escape room challenge one where you had to like do the commands and go to the different areas.
Hated
It
doing
was
it until the
great.
second I finished. Then I loved it.
I had so much fun planning this challenge. I spent this challenge took me like hours to work out, and we've brought it back for seasons since this because I think it's very fun.
It was.
Yeah, he brought it back for the next season. I don't know if we did it. No, we didn't do it for last season.
We didn't do it for last season, but we did do it for season 7 because it was Into the Woods themed.
Yeah.
This is a fun challenge that I would love to bring back again because I had a lot of fun planning it and doing it, and I was very proud of myself because it was like the first time I like fully planned and fleshed out a challenge like entirely on my own. So go me, I guess. Go me. Dennis, you won immunity here.
hmm
Dennis was immunity, which is the case for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure.
Each of them
Yeah.
were needed. Any time I lost immunity, I was going home. Like there was nothing
Yeah,
I
you
could
needed
have
the
done
comp run.
from here out. Like I had to win every single immunity. So
Yeah,
like
you needed to go on the challenge run.
anytime I could practice something, I practiced. Like even the entanglement one, like I worked on that so hard, like watching YouTube videos on how to do it. Like everything I did, I tried to win.
Yeah, so this is when we see the fall of Wonder.
It was so
Our
sad.
queen.
That
This was a sad tribal, I think, for everyone.
This was a sad tribal.
Yeah.
I loved Wonder, but she could not have been allowed to make it to the end. She would have
No,
won.
absolutely. And that's like I was honest with Wonder too at that point because I was like, none of us can beat you. Like you
Mhm.
have one of the best stories here. You're well liked by everyone.
She
and it
played
was
a great game too.
Yeah, it
And-
was also
and
I think I cried during that tribal.
We worked on Libby so hard. so hard to get her to like vote for Belle. Just because like that was the only opportunity I think to like keep Wonder around.
Yeah, no, this is a really sad tribal all around. Especially like I found like the later in the season, the Scott, I was like so sad anytime anyone went home because I feel like I liked all of you so much, and I was like, I think anyone like in this group could win this season, and like I would be like, well, I mean, you had the game that like if there were different circumstances, you could have won the season, Dennis. Like you played a great game, like a great game, and you had the underdog arc. It was just unfortunate with the stuff that we talked about prior, but I think like any like based on the games everyone played, I was like so happy to have seen like any one of you guys win. So every time a tribal happened from like here on out, I was like, oh, like I don't want them to go. Like I like them. So yeah, but Wonder took it like a champ though. She took it with grace, and
she was such a delight to have during the
season. She is amazing. She is like a fantastic ally. Like she was so fun to work with. She was so fun to talk to. Like, and she had great strategy sense. So like even strategizing with her was like enjoyable. I loved every moment of playing this entire game with Wonder because I was with Wonder every single round since the beginning, and I love her. Absolutely love her.
No, she's amazing. She's such a great person. Me and Wonder have now become like really good friends since this season, and we have a Stardew Valley co-op farm together. So love her. Next challenge was a puzzle gauntlet, and again, Dennis wins immunity.
Yep, really saying that a lot this episode.
And again, Dennis wins immunity. Which leads us to Libby going home. We actually had fire making here. Almost every single season of Randomvivor has had fire making. It's actually crazy.
It had been very obvious to me during the Wonder vote out how close Libby and Dennis had gotten. So when Libby came to me and was like, I'm not voting you here, Belle, I was like, okay, that's nice. I'll see you at fire making.
Yeah, me and Belle kind of knew. And I think for me, it's like, when it comes to like my ride or die, like until they're gone, I am completely loyal to them. And so like there was no way in hell that I was going to write Belle's name down. And I was just glad it wasn't me.
And I think the reason it wasn't you, Kayl, is because like we created like such a good bond like over the last several episodes.
Yeah.
Whereas mine with Belle like deteriorated after the last couple episodes.
Yeah, no, it really had.
And Libby was my only shot. Like that was the only thing that I could see that I had a path to win was against Libby. So I needed Libby to win this so badly. And even with the fire making, like I told her, I'm like, it's puzzles. I need you to be practicing puzzles. Like, here's a couple of different links. Like, let's practice them.
Do some jigsaws.
Get your times down. Like, I needed her to win so badly.
The problem was I was also practicing puzzles all day.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love the jigsaw.
I love a jigsaw. I do them for fun in my spare time.
I
do them for fun at a leisurely pace. Like I think this was definitely. I don't think it wasn't this challenge, but there was a challenge that I was watching some TV show and I got to like this huge cliffhanger and I was in the middle of the challenge and I spent like 5 minutes watching my TV show.
It was funny.
Puzzle gauntlet.
It was this challenge. It would have been this round.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure that's when I got distracted.
Libby was coming to me. She's like, Dennis, like, I'm really your only chance, like, to win. I think you need to vote with me. I'm like, yeah, Libby, I got that. Like, we're on the same page. I got you. I've already thought this through. Like, absolutely. You don't need to convince me.
Yeah, I do think Libby would have been your best shot to win.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. The end of Libby. Libby had like kind of a crazy arc this season too, because I feel like
she really did.
She really stepped up, and like at the end too, and me and her kind of started talking more towards these last few rounds, and like I really got to see more of like her strategy and her personality, and I was like, damn, she's actually pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think.
she started off like super active in the early game, like back on Malark, like her, Bo, Madison, like Nikki. It was an immediate click with those four. Like they were like very much power. She found the line like an idol really early in. Like she was really strong, and then I think she just had like a lot of like her life got really busy around like the midpoint of the game, so she like kind of fell off a little bit. And I think she was kind of probably just like, oh, well, like I'm busy, so if I get voted out, it's not the worst thing. I think she had said that a couple of times in her confessional. And then when she got further in, I think she was like, oh, like I could actually maybe do this, and kind of came back a little bit. So she had a really interesting arc.
Yeah, she was really playing up at the end of like, I'm the goat you want to take to the end. I'm like, babe, at this point, I don't think you're a goat.
Yeah, no, I saw that
playing
too.
well.
It was like, I think people have misjudged you.
Yeah.
I think also like Libby, like I needed Libby, but Libby also needed me at this point too, because I think if Libby was up against either of you two, Libby probably doesn't win, right? So
Right.
we were like necessarily like put together and needed to work together in order to get us to the end.
Yeah, I would agree. Then we have our final immunity, because we had decided like pretty early preseason that this season was going to be a final 2 and not a final 3. Just because, you know, Hunger Games theme, like the last 2 standings, like the last like final show off in the Hunger Games, we're like, it feels very fitting to do a final 2 for this season. Unfortunately for Kayl. Unfortunately for Kayl.
I'm brooding over here.
Well, actually, fun fact, Adelaide wanted to have a double winner this season in true Hunger Games fashion. And I was like, no, you can't just have 2 people win the season.
I mean, we could have.
They specifically said if it tied.
Yeah, they're like, if it ties, like, let's just have them both win. I was like, Adelaide, no, like, we can't just have
That's
two
not an
winners.
option. That's not an option.
We would have to go to tiebreaker. Like, we can't just have. I mean, it would have been kind of fun. It would have been kind of iconic, but you're like that. So, final 2 was planned very early on. So, of course, last immunity was season trivia, which once again, Dennis wins.
I literally
The
put in there,
shocker.
Dennis wins immunity again.
Yeah. I think at that point too, I had exposed way too much of my game to Dennis for him to like want to take me. Because it's like, I knew Dennis's game really well. He knew mine really well. And I'm like, I just don't have it in the heart to try to manipulate and lie to Dennis.
I will also say that I realized about halfway through Dennis's insane immunity streak that I was never going to beat him at final immunity. I was not strong in challenges. That was not happening. So I really worked towards the later part of the game to make me be Dennis's worst enemy on jury.
And honestly though, like that didn't weigh into this decision very heavily. Because I knew that like I already had like people working against me on jury. You know what I mean? Like I had Bo, I had, you know, Nikki that was also upset with me. So like you like going on jury also and like saying like how awful I am, like you know, like I already got those. So I mean you did very well. Like we were not close at all. Like
no, we absolutely weren't.
The game.
I think the only messages we sent at the end of the game was me saying, sorry you didn't vote me out, and you saying, I didn't actually want to. Those were our DMs at the end.
Yeah,
but yeah, I knew you and Kayl were close already. I knew you had a good relationship, and I knew that my best chance, because I was not winning my way to final 2, so I just needed Kayl to be someone good on jury and me to be a problem.
Yeah.
And I didn't think Kayl would vote for me either, just because of how close like you two were. So I didn't really think that like having Kayl on jury would have been beneficial for me either. So I mean, both
But
of
you
them
can
were
look back
like,
at the jury chat though and see that I like pretty much treated both of your games pretty equally.
which I appreciate.
Yeah,
but,
I was just excited to be on jury.
This
Yeah, I'm sorry, you
this
always
was-
do so well. You never get to be jury. Just keep winning, Kayl. What a problem.
Dang, imagine
This-
getting wins.
Oh my
This was a really hard decision though. Like it took me a while, I think, to like finally make a decision too, because I didn't know what I was going to do. There was part of me that was like, it doesn't matter what I do, I'm not going to win. But I also wanted to give myself like the best shot at winning, and that was you, Belle. I'm sorry, but I just feel like
Kayl was player of the season, and she absolutely deserved it. She killed that season.
And so it was like tearing between. I have a better shot against Belle, even though I probably will lose, or do I want to take Kayl and just like guarantee that she wins? Because I do like her, I do appreciate her, and I want her to be successful. But it was hard. I went back and forth on this a lot.
And I think so. I promised both of you that if I had won, that I would take both of you, each of you. And like, I knew I could make that promise because I'm horrible at immunity challenge. I think you just called me out on it. You're like, did you also promise Belle that you would take her? And I'm like, yeah. I know I wasn't gonna win.
We really never even had the opportunity to have someone we could keep around that would be the possibility of beating Dennis, because no one ever beat Dennis. Like, there was never like, okay, well, if we keep this person, they might win final immunity and take us. It was just like, well, Dennis is gonna fucking win. Let's figure out who he takes.
Yeah.
Like, I was bad at challenges. You were bad at challenges. I had never done a cryptogram before in my life. I just started the challenge not even knowing what it was. That was a bad decision on my end. I'll say that. That was stupid.
Yeah, so Dennis does decide to take. I remember at this point we were all like, I think us as the hosts have been like, whoever does not make the final two is like probably pots worthy, because all three of you had like such stellar games
absolutely
this season. We were like, whoever doesn't.
I know there was a conversation that Adelaide and I had that was essentially whichever one out of Belle or Kayl doesn't win gets pots.
Hell
Which,
yeah.
okay. It was very frustrating, by the way, because I think I told both of you this. From like that whole MK situation on, I knew I wasn't winning. My whole goal since that point was to try to get pots. So when that ended up not happening, I was so devastated.
He sent me like an essay about how he's never gotten pots before and how he really wants it. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, you totally deserve it. And then when it was announced that I was pots, I actually felt bad at first.
I was okay with losing the season, but when I didn't get pots, I'm like, no, I worked so hard for that. Like,
you honestly, any one of you could. We had a really tough time like debating on pots this season. Because like, the three of you had all played like such stellar games, and I think you all had such like different games too. Like Dennis, you were obviously so strong physically. You had the advantages. You really had the underdog story. You really were the cockroach that would not die for the cast.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean that so lovingly, because it was so fun to watch. Like every round, be like, it's got to be Dennis, right? And then it was just never you. Like you maneuvered through it so like masterfully. It was crazy to watch. And Kayl, you had a big threat level early on. You were so strategic and you had such a strong game on that front. Everyone really liked you. Everyone knew you were a threat, but like never wanted to go for you. Belle, your social game I think was stellar. I think we don't speak on enough about how great your social game was this season, because I mean, like you said earlier, you did the stuff with Bo and Libby where you pretended to be against Wonder even though you had Wonder in your pocket. You had everyone so locked around your finger that by the time I think people kind of caught on to the fact that you were a social threat, it was almost a little bit too late to do anything about it. So I think like any one of you for like different reasons could have been past this season, because it was a very, very strong final three. Like part of me almost wishes we had done a final three just to like see what would have happened with that FTC.
I do wonder, would a split vote between Kayl and Belle actually give Dennis the win?
No, I was getting the 2 votes that I was getting, and there was nothing else that was going to happen. So I still lose.
But it was a very fun season.
I think Belle still wins though at the final 3 because of how close she was with Nikki and Bo, and like. I had good social games with them, but I don't think mine was nearly as good as Belle's was with them.
Yeah,
it didn't matter who I sat next against. I was never going to get Chrissy's vote.
No, you wouldn't have gotten Chrissy. I was honestly concerned where Chrissy's vote was going to go, because I was like, how chaotic is she still on jury? Is she just going to throw it at Dennis to have some fun with it?
Right.
I remember it was kind of funny because I remember Chrissy being like a Dennis advocate in jury. I feel like I don't remember. She was either like team Dennis or team not Dennis. I don't remember which way it was, but she was like very strong one way or the other. I think she was like at the beginning like really pulling for Dennis. Like I think she was like team Dennis and Pondy, and then she voted for Belle, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming actually.
I mean, Bo did a lot of damage to Dennis and Pondy, by the way. So
Yeah, Bo did do a good bit of damage to you and Pondy.
Which is so funny because it was me and Belle that did that.
Yeah,
it wasn't even
we
you.
said a lot of shit. Like a lot.
Yeah. I definitely kind of, that's where I kind of found this game, was where I was like, oh, I kind of like playing an under the radar villain. Like, as long as there's someone else more louder and outspoken than me, I can definitely play a villainous role. And Dennis, you actually called me out on it at one point. You're like, you're a little bit of a villain. I'm like, yeah, a little bit. I think I like it.
I think I like
You're
it.
right.
Villains have more fun. As also a Randomvivor villain of the season winner. Villains have the most fun.
You know, I'm taking a break from orgs right now, but you know, if I come back, my only goal is to get villain of the season.
You
Yeah.
you almost got it in the last one you played. You were very close.
Oh, I would have loved that.
I would have loved that. I don't think I think my goal if I come back to Randomvivor is to win hero. Like I think I want to win hero. You guys think I want to win hero?
Wait, what you're
That's
gonna
all
do
I
is play
want
the
is
exact
pockets.
opposite game. That's actually hilarious. I
Yeah.
want to see this
Like I
now.
think Kayl, like I think if we ever come back, we're gonna just have to be a duo to be like one evil and one.
Oh
And
yeah,
like-
absolutely. I'm
It's
so
the
on
angel and the devil on your shoulder, but it's just
Which
Kayl
is-
and Emma.
Yeah.
Kind of funny because that happened with this season because I got villain and Wonder got hero, and
It's
it's
true,
been
yeah.
duos the
That's
entire
true.
time, which is crazy if you think about it. That a duo is going to get both the hero and villain award.
Yeah, that's true.
But you guys both
Yeah.
you even each other out in a lot of ways that I thought was so interesting. Like when I went back and looked through the season and like learned more like of both of your perspectives, I was like, oh shit, they were a perfect match for each other.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
really were.
They
Mhm.
really were. No,
Uh,
I love this season, and I loved having all of you guys so much. Like, I think that this season, I think cast-wise, this like might be one of my favorite casts that we've had. I might be biased because like it was my season.
It was
Yes.
such a delight to play though. Like I had so much fun.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like, I think that this season went really well. Like, I have nothing. I say to Ross all the time that season 6 is the best season. But like again, I'm probably biased.
I put forth some arguments there, but
Yeah,
we'll
I say
see.
you guys were the best season all the time.
I
say you guys are a better
I
season.
do plan to do a ranking after we're done with all these podcasts. So
Like,
And
I
we're
say you
gonna
guys
be
are
number
the
one.
best.
I
Off of here,
understand.
Ross.
It's
I literally say all the time that season 6 is the best season, and I actually won a season. Like, I say you guys are better than my own season. So like,
and as our episode for season 1 proved, that was a good season. So
it was a fun season. But yeah, I think that's Ross. Do you want to do your little thing that you do at the
Yeah.
end of these things now?
yeah. So as you may or may not know, this upcoming season is Second Chance. Is there anyone from your cast that you'd like to see on it?
Madison.
Madison.
Jesse,
Yes.
Jesse.
So Madison and Jesse, can we get a third because there's 3 of you?
I mean, I still stand that Wonder should be on All Stars if there's an All Stars. But if she's not All Stars, second chances.
Maybe we give it to like one of the early boots. from
Chrissy-
Princess Tribe.
Chrissy would be a good second chance. She brings the drama.
She does. She's
does
bring
bring
a
the
great
drama.
level of
You know what?
entertainment.
I'll throw out a pre-merger. Let's go Taylor.
Yeah,
No,
you're
if-
thinking about
If you're
Taylor.
going to do a pre-merger, it needs to be Jamie because Jamie, like, she should not have gone that tribal. Like,
Yeah, Jamie flamed out so quick. I would like love to see her make a return.
All great
But
picks.
I think if Jamie made a deep run, she'd be so fun to watch.
yes,
She was a little chaotic, but like in a good way.
in a good
Oh,
way.
well, not to Jesse, but
yeah.
well, not for Jesse, but from a viewer perspective, it was entertaining.
To be fair, Jesse's lived. She didn't, so it was fine for Jesse.
No, I say it all the time. Like, I think there's so many great second chance contenders from this season.
Oh, absolutely. This
Like-
season and season 5 both have some.
Yeah, 5 and 6,
strong
I think.
casts. for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're about 2 hours into this. I'd say we're at a point where we can wrap up. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Oh, it was
Of
fun.
course, it was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I loved getting to relive this. It was a fun season, and it holds a very special place in my heart. So I hope you guys know that.
Sorry I wasn't able to contribute as much. As I've said, this was my off season, so.
You missed a good one, Ross.
You did.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I'm almost kind of sad because the original reason I took off was because I was supposed to be in school and then I ran out of money, so I couldn't actually go. So at that point, I was just kind of there and not at the same time.
I am sad. I am sad Adelaide wasn't here because this season really was like a joint effort between the two of us, and it was kind of like
Yeah.
our little
And,
love child.
You did fantastic though. Like it was a really good season. Like from a player standpoint, like it was really well thought out. Everything worked. Everything, like the challenges were good. The twists were good. Like I loved it. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
It was both of
absolutely
our-
agree with what Dennis
it was
says.
both of our first time like kind of main hosting anything, so it was definitely a learning process for the two of us. But I think I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I can't say enough good things about
Yeah,
you guys.
you guys did fantastic. Thank you. I really need that break.
You're
It
welcome.
ended up being very good mentally for me. So. All right. Well, I think it's time we wrap up.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for having us.
Of course. And we'll see you in the next episode, whenever that is.
Whatever that is.
All right. Bye.
Bye.